Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Fair Life with Andrew McKee. Wow, it's another Monday, and yeah, I'm just going to say that I am white because I had one of those crazy weeks at Fair that I talked a little bit about last Monday with school days going on during the week, and what that essentially amounted to was we had there was a period of 9 days with seven of them being at Fair. So yeah, it's kind of like having 2 3 day weekends of Fair with one day off in between. It's kind of like that. It's a little, it's a lot, and it's not overwhelming. But if you're not used to it, which most of us aren't, you only do that maybe once or twice a year at that level. It is pretty exhausting. So yeah. So hey there, hey Harvey and Damaris and Greg. Thanks for joining. Yeah, it is. I don't expect necessarily many people to join tonight because, well, of course, there's the holidays and everything this week coming up with Thanksgiving. So yeah, might just be a few of us, but that's okay. Oh, and hey, Katsurita and Nancy. Wow, okay, so maybe a few more people are joining. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. This week is always an odd week with the holidays because. Well, generally, a lot of fairs are open on the Friday after Thanksgiving, on Black Friday. And it is, yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on. It is a crazy week. And wow, okay. Lisa and Kim and Linda, hello. Wow, a lot of people here tonight. So, yeah, interesting. But yeah, it's just been one of those weeks. But like I said, I mentioned last week that one of the good things about school days is it's very rewarding because you play music and introduce some traditional music and instruments to school kids for 3 straight days. And what I always like to describe it as at least once a day, I run into somebody who reminds me of me. They're like me at that age, and it never fails. At least once a day, I see that person, and it's nostalgic, but it also is rewarding because I feel like I'm influencing a young me to love this kind of things that I have fallen in love with. It's just it's like that, and lots of other people too, and that's really the goal to try to showcase all the great things that you love from Fair and history to kids and to introduce them to it. If they don't like it, that's fair. Not everybody is going to like everything, but at least to expose them to it so that they can judge for themselves and see if it's something they want to study more about, which is always nice. Um, oh, Nancy, yeah, that's awesome. The sweet potato dish that I'd shared. Yeah, yeah, that is really cool. Yeah, I usually do that every Thanksgiving. This Thanksgiving, I'm not going to do that because normally the I stay with people here in Louisiana, and it's a huge house full of us, and there's like 20, 30, 40 people all doing Thanksgiving dinner. But this time, I'm not doing that. So I may not be making that this year. I'm probably going to try to make that dish for Christmas instead when I go visit my folks then in the holidays there. So that's probably how I'm going to handle it. But yeah, no. Let me know how that turns out, Nancy. I'd really like to know because there's a lot of variations and subtlety. I mean, it's a good dish, but you can always make it a little more spicy, make it a little more sweet. You've got a lot of options there, so you can kind of make it to taste. So I love that about it. Oh wow. Okay. Any tea drinkers here? Well, that would be me as well. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Not sure what exactly you're asking, but if yeah, I was drinking some tea right before the show, as a matter of fact. But yeah, yeah, it's always a fun thing, always a good, tasty thing. I usually go with some iced tea, some black tea, and then my personal favorite is usually peppermint tea or spearmint tea. I really love the mints, but I'll also do some on fair days. I also turn to throat comfort tea, which is a yogi brand tea. It's usually licorice based, and it's great on the throat. It's if you're singing all day, it is wondrous. I love it. I highly recommend it. Uh, yeah, good recommendation, Katsurita. Totally agree with that. Yay! I'm not saying you have good taste, but I'm not going to argue with you. And okay, between tea and coffee, I know lots of people who do that. I've actually, believe it or not, never had coffee in my life. I know, it's a strange thing. When I was young, the smell always made me think of dirt. So it was an immediate turnoff, and I never tried it. And once you get, into your 20s and everything, through your 20s without trying coffee, it's kind of like, why bother? So I just never did. So I've never had coffee. Uh, Funny. Good one, Greg. Yes. But you have to work on it to get better. So you have to kind of go through that process. Just saying. So maybe have some tea handy. I know. Lisa, people will. You're not the first person to call me that in this context. I'm not going to lie. Uh, ooh, okay. Coffee with vanilla creamer. Interesting. Um, okay, that's interesting. You don't like the taste, but you love the smell. Hmm. Okay. And I hear that all the time that people say that they really love the smell of coffee. I never got that. I mean, it's a very earthy smell, but it's turned into a bad association for me. So yeah, yeah. And I look at it as just a habit. If I haven't started, why go there? Yeah, green tea is a good one too. I totally see where you're coming from, Linda. That is, definitely a fan of that as well. Very much so. Ooh, that's that's a really that's a bad image. Burning acid. Okay, well, if you're talking about yeah, coffee. Wow. Okay, well, okay, then we're in the same boat, I guess. I'm sorry you had to try it that first time to decide. Uh, oh, and Damaris too. Okay, so yeah, a lot of anti-coffee people here. Who knew? See, yeah, I'm always surprised with meeting somebody else who doesn't like coffee because it seems so ubiquitous in our society where everybody seems to love coffee. But maybe I've just seen too many Starbucks commercials. Maybe that's it. Okay. So, but you side with the coffee. Oh, that's fair. That's fair. As long as you like it, understand. Oh, no problem, Greg. Hey, believe me, I was being honest at the beginning for those that were on when I said it that I'm pretty white. The last 9 days have been crazy because 7 of them I was at Faire and day after day after day at Faire. I mean, it's wonderful. I have a great time doing it, but it is tiring. And after the first 4 or 5 days, even no matter how much sleep you get, you're just trying to make sure you get enough sleep to function the next day. Because if you get behind, oh, you won't catch up. So you just have to really take care of yourself. But you are wiped. You're just not used to it. Uh, oh, super tasters. I've heard that about myself too. That somebody said that I was like that when I was describing my taste buds and how I respond to certain things and certain foods that most people like that I just can't handle because it's way too strong for me. So yeah, maybe we should start a group. Well, yeah, I mean exactly. Never tried it, so I don't know. Wow. Okay. This is interesting. Yeah, that's all about the coffee. Wow. Yeah. I can honestly say I didn't think this show would be about coffee. I'm not gonna lie. Wow. Yeah. Yep, that's my Thanksgiving show, all about coffee. But with Fairlife, that's kind of how it goes. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of it. Yeah. But yeah, it's just a stretch. Like I'm this week is kind of a rest week. It's still a 3 day weekend coming up with Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But it's still 4 straight days off is still glorious compared to last week, and I'll take it, and I'll be fine. And then the next week it'll be even better because it's 5 days off, kind of from Fair. So you get to work on other projects and do some things and try to accomplish as much as you can. But it's still, yeah, as much fun as Fair is, even for patrons. I mean, it's a tiring day. You have a lot of fun, but it does wipe you out at the end. So you have to really take care of yourself. Hmm. Oh yeah, right. Yeah, maybe we should look into that. That might have to be my next show, the history of coffee and tea in the Renaissance. The interesting thing is there are some really good coffee and tea shops at the different fairs. Some of the coffee shops they travel to all through the different fairs, and you'll see the same shop or the same cart at several different fairs around the circuit, and they do really well. They're very popular, and they apparently, from what I've been told by others, make really good coffee and tea. So yeah, it is kind of interesting that it's not like just a generic turkey leg. I mean, they really take it seriously, and there is seem to be a thriving culture there. So yeah, it might be worth exploring. That's not a bad topic. I like it. Whoa, yeah, yeah, exactly. That's I would agree, but it'd be interesting to find out exactly what year it kind of started taking hold. So yeah, that might be next week. So something to do. But for now, yeah, we have Thanksgiving coming up on Thursday, and that's interesting too because fairs that are there aren't well, you'll see in a little bit when I bring up the fair list. There aren't many fairs left going on right now. We're really hitting the small short list now. Just a few fairs going on, and yeah, so not many really go on through Thanksgiving. They tend to look at it as stopping usually the weekend before, because people tend to go out of town and visit family during that time. It's not as usually a big weekend for fair, but it does happen. So it is interesting. It is interesting in the fairs that are still going on. What happens on Thanksgiving weekend? I don't know. Some historically, it hasn't always been the busiest weekend, but this year at in Louisiana, it has been crazy the last few weekends. So yeah, I'll be interested to see if that continues, if we get a really good crowd or not. Because it is people are really wanting to go outside as much as possible post pandemic. So it's kind of been an interesting dynamic to see, an interesting change. So yeah, yeah. Hmm. But yeah, Thanksgiving itself is kind of strange too because I like to talk about holidays on this show and make fun of Columbus Day and just as pretty much a useless holiday these days, and also yeah, let's talk about how inappropriate some other holidays are. Thanksgiving, I don't know, it does have a bit of controversy associated with it too, but mainly how it's portrayed with the Pilgrims and the Native Americans and the history behind that, especially the last 100 years, how that was presented in the United States. So yeah, that has been kind of interesting. Now, that being said, I still think having a day that is all about being thankful for what you have and spending time with family and friends is a good thing. I really think it's a good concept. I think a little bit of the history is definitely flawed. So I don't know. I don't know. What do you think? My view is maybe just not stopping the association with that historical moment. and just making it a day of thanks and approaching it that way might take care of at least a bit of the controversy. But I don't know. It might always be associated with the treatment of Native Americans, and it may never recover. But we'll see. We'll see. Oh, yeah, that's an interesting point, Katsurita. Yeah, the love on TikTok. That has happened, and you notice that a lot during the fair day, that people are whipping out their phones and trying to get those 10-second videos of people dancing to. When I'm just busking, I'll play a quick tune, and people will do a quick few-second dance, and yeah, I know that's going on TikTok. I've already had one video go pretty viral of me at Louisiana last year doing that. So yeah, it's been a thing. It's definitely been a thing. But yeah. Well, let's go ahead and jump on over to the list of fairs that are still going on. And yeah, let's jump there, and you can kind of see over here that we have, yeah, not many. Just look at that. So few indeed. It's really interesting. So yeah, let's just jump in. Yeah, I've still been having some trouble with the laser pointer, so I don't have that working yet. But yeah, let me go ahead and ask you while I'm here, how is the screen and everything? Is it any skipping video or anything? Is that working okay? I meant to ask you that earlier and see if because last week I was trying remotely for the first time to see if everything was smooth, and there was a few skipped frames here and there. It wasn't horrible, but it was noticeable. But so I think I fixed that. How is it looking? Okay, video looks good. Okay, okay, that's good. Okay, then yeah, I think I got it figured out. Um, no skipping. Excellent video here. Excellent. Okay, okay. Then yeah, that's good. Okay, I think we got that figured out. So that's the important one, and I'll try to have the laser pointer part figured out by next week. So that is good. But that was my main concern, trying to make sure that to tweak that and make it look okay. Woohoo! Always no pressure. Okay, let's jump to the full map, and here we are. Excellent. Okay, you can see over in Ohio this is at the Ohio Renaissance Fair site over in Waynesville, Ohio. This is Friday and Saturday, and it's interesting. They actually do 4 weekends of that, and it's called the Yuletide Village Season of Lights, and it's at the Ren Fair site, but they do that, and it's kind of interesting. Fairs have started doing that. They've started having off-season events. Like if they're a spring fair or a summer fair, they'll do something in the fall, and vice versa. I mean, sometimes they'll theme it like with winter, or do something with like a pirate festival in the off-season, or something like that. And sometimes they'll even do like a spring version and a fall version of their fair. But yeah, it's an interesting dynamic, and I see where they're going, because if they're successful in one season, let's try another season and see if they can still appeal to their fans. And it can be a little rough though, because cast, all the rehearsals they have to do, it can be a little crazy. So yeah, I mean, it's a balance, but if it's a different theme and it's a different cast or a different setup, it can work. And it obviously can, because they're doing it more and more. Then you go down to Florida, and you have the Sarasota Medieval Fair in Miaka City, Florida. And this is the last weekend for that. It's the St. Nicholas celebration. And then Suncoast Renaissance Festival in Sarasota, Florida. And it has 3 weekends left. So, and this weekend is themed Fantasy Weekend. Then, of course, where I am in Louisiana, the Louisiana Renaissance Festival in Hammond, Louisiana. It's going to be a 3-day weekend, Friday to Sunday. And the theme is Myths and Magic weekend. So that's going to be interesting. In the past, it was called Time Travelers Weekend, which was a little general of fantasy and all of that. But I think they tried to make it a little more open with myths and magic, and I think that will. I think that's a good idea. We'll see how it goes this weekend. I'll report back on that. Then at the Texas Renaissance Festival in Todd Mission, Texas, that's also a 3-day weekend, Friday to Sunday, and that is their final weekend. And the theme is Celtic Christmas. So that's an interesting mix because they're combining the Celtic and then, which is always a popular theme, and with Christmas, which is also a popular theme. So we'll see how that goes. That should be interesting. Then going over to California, on the West Coast, we have the Great Dickens Christmas Fair is going on in Daly City, California still. And that it's a 3-day weekend as well, Friday to Sunday. And there are 4 weekends left in that one. So that's going to be going on into December. So yeah, we're kind of going to see this map with it's going to lessen a little bit here coming up. But this is kind of what we're going to see. We're not going to see much else. So yes, indeed. And that is very, very true. This is referencing the Texas Renaissance Festival. Joaquin the Magician will be outside of Houston at the Texas Renaissance Festival. Definitely a good, shall we say, magic show? But there's a lot more to it. The rope tricks alone are worth it. So something to check out. Okay, so yeah, that's all we have there. So not too bad. Yeah, really very small list, like I said. Okay, close-up magic would be the way to describe it, Drew. Okay, close-up magic. Excellent. Yeah, like for me, I guess it would be close-up music. So yeah, excellent. Okay, well, I wanted to do a 7 reasons that was fresh on my mind. So I did 7 reasons that a week of Faire is awesome. Because doing, a week full of almost every day I'm going to Ren Fair and playing music, yeah, it's definitely an interesting process. So I thought, okay, but let's do that. 7 reasons, a whole week of Faire. And in this case, 7 out of 9 straight days of Faire is awesome. So here we go. So the number 7, 7th reason why a week of Faire is awesome. Yeah, it's a good litmus test. And it's a good litmus test to see if you actually like what you're doing. Because if you, after the end of that week, if you still love doing what you're doing the right thing. Because yeah, sometimes you can burn out on this stuff and start to question, is this right for me? But if you go through a week and you love it afterwards, and I still do, you're doing the right thing. Definitely. It's a good litmus test to test your profession. Number 6, you get to see more of your friends. Because, often what happens at fairs is you make all these great friends and you see them through the run of the fair, and then everybody leaves. And some of them you don't see for another year until you come back to that fair, which, is normal. You get used to it. But yeah, sometimes you have those regrets of, gosh, I wish I'd gotten to talk to this person more or hang out with this group more or whatever. So yeah, you get to that whole week. I mean, you're hanging around with people day after day after day, and you really get to spend some good quality time with all of these other performers and friends and patrons who come in who you've gotten to know over the years and everything. And it's great. So I really like that aspect of it. It is nice. Good quality time. Okay, number 5, it's a good workout. Well, for me, I'm on my feet the entire time. I do my best not to sit down throughout the day. So I'm day after day after day, I'm just on my feet all day, jumping around, playing music and doing stuff. So yeah, it's actually a very good workout. And when you, boy, if I, wow, I'm just thinking if I did like 5 days a week of Faire, that would be, wow, in 6 months, I'd be pretty lean. I'd have to worry about, I'd probably be as skinny as a rail. That would be dangerous. That's funny. Yeah, Lisa, yeah, some friends need to be small doses. But, at Faire, especially if you're performing, you kind of have to avoid other performers to an extent. They've got their shtick, you've got yours. So if you want to have small doses, it's okay. You can do that. You kind of have the choice. I've never felt like I was forced to talk to somebody for too long because I'm working. I've got to keep doing my thing. So it's never been a problem, at least not for me. Okay, number 4, you get to make more fans. You're spending a week instead of 2 days really just playing music in front of people for all ages, kids from school days and all ages on the weekends. And it's really, yeah, it almost feels like I did a whole Faire in a week, like a whole run for over several weeks in one week because it was so much. So yeah, I really felt like I met a lot of new people and I made a lot of new fans, and that was a lot of fun. So that's always good. Number 3, more money. Okay, now this is all about doing what you love, sure, but if you can make more tips, sell more CDs, and get paid for more days, it does help you pay your rent. So I'm just saying, it's a good thing. It does help. Number 2, it's extra practice. Even if you get a rain day and it's not the best day or it's whatever, you get to spend the day playing music. So worst case scenario, like I always say that, okay, you're on stage and even if nobody shows up, you've got 30 minutes of practice and you get to jam and play music. How is that bad? So I've never really, I've never been, it's never bothered me too much about that type of thing because worst case scenario, I play music and have fun. So yeah, it's never bad. Faire will know you. You can be normal at a fair. That's true. Uh, yeah, somebody asked me this past week, that yeah, they didn't know that they didn't really that they knew me as my character, so to speak, and I just laughed and said, "Yeah, this is pretty much who I am." When you get to know me, this is yeah, how I am at Faire is me. I don't really put on much of a character. Maybe I'm a little more goofy at Faire, maybe, but that's just because of the energy of having fun playing music. And it's pretty much me. When I first started doing music at Faire and performing, for the first couple of actually the first couple of weeks, I put on an Irish accent and put on a character and tried to do that. But then I was playing gigs outside of Faire, and people from Faire were coming to see me there, and it was like, who am I at these other gigs? Do I put on a persona there? Am I me? It started to get really confusing, and I realized that it's not worth it for me. I know for other performers, they need to do that. I am just me. So that's how I've approached it, for good or bad. Yes, and Drew does a great job with his accents. I've heard it, and it is, he's very good at it. So, I mean, certainly, I think in some situations, it is, you should do that. Musicians, you can kind of get away with not, but it just depends on how you want to approach it. What your shtick is, essentially. I've managed to find a way not to, and I think it's worked well for me. At least it has. I don't think it's hurt me a lot. That explains a lot. Ominous. I'm not sure what to make of that. So yes, we'll just go with that. Okay, number 1. The number 1 reason that a week of Faire is awesome is it's artistically fulfilling, because I played a ton of music over the last week, and that is, well, for me in my life, music has always been sort of a bastion of sanity. I mean, it's been that place that I can go to that it gets all of my emotion out, all my stress. It lets me be creative and artistic, and I don't feel stifled. And it's always been psychologically and emotionally good for me. So then to be able to do that professionally for a week is just, therapeutic is a very good way to put it. And I love it. And so, yes, yes. Yes, I just saw Jacques the Whipper. Yeah, just yesterday, as a matter of fact. So, yeah, yeah, he does do the accents. Right, right. That is it. It is. It's hard to explain to somebody if they don't play music. You really have to use an analogy of some other hobby or thing that people do to express themselves or let them feel like they've accomplished something, whether it's intellectual or emotional or creative or whatever. And it's kind of a similar thing. It's kind of a similar thing. Oh, that's fair. Okay, okay. I assumed. I like to assume that, but yeah, just the way that was phrased, it could have been either way. Well, that explains a lot. It could have been that way. So didn't I? Just yeah. You never know. You never know. Okay. So that's 7 reasons, and wow, it's already after 7:30. Okay then. Ah. So yes, I think I've got the video thing worked out with the system. I think the remote, everything's working. Background, I'm pretty happy with. You can see my guitar and mandolin and instruments and everything. I think the lighting is pretty good. I might be able to tweak that a little bit, but all things considered, this it's not a bad location. I was pleasantly surprised by the internet connection that I had here. So here's hoping that the future has similar places where I can do this. But for now, yeah, I'm here for the rest of the run for the next few weeks, so we should be good here in New Orleans. Something to enjoy. Uh, well, I am detail oriented, as we all know. Oh, I opened up that door. And thank you, Harvey. Thank you, Harvey. I appreciate that. And yeah, thanks, Tanya. That's I appreciate that. So yeah, whew. Yeah, I'm just really. I'm sorry if I'm a little out there tonight, but I'm still recovering from the last week. I'll feel a lot better tomorrow, and even though it's a 3-day weekend, this coming up weekend for me, it's going to seem like a piece of cake compared to last week. So next Monday I'll be fine. Shouldn't be a problem. And we'll have a nice long talk about the history of coffee and maybe tea too. Tea too. Wow, I didn't mean to reference a Arnold Schwarzenegger movie there, but I did. Okay, so again, have a great holiday. And I hope all of you have at least some good food to eat and some good friends and or family to see or hang out with, because really that's a lot of what the holiday is about. And just being able to do that can, make life a lot better and more fun. And well, that's what a fair life is all about as well, because hey, if you can do it, always have a fair life. So take care, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one.